And I have with me Macarena, and I should have asked you when we did our discovery call. Help me with the pronunciation of your last name. I don't want to say it
It's okay.
incorrectly, so I'm going to let you do that if that's okay.
It's okay. Real de Azua. You don't have to know how to pronounce this. It's fine. Everyone calls me Maca, so it's easier for all English speakers.
Okay, there we go. Well, Mecca, I'm delighted to have you on with us here today, and you're going to be talking to us about activating your potential. And I'm really excited. I've tried to put together a collection of different speakers and topics, different backgrounds, really focusing on people who are self-employed coaches, consultants, speakers, and authors. And before we jump into your topic, why don't you take a few minutes, tell us a little bit about you and your business, if you could.
Okay, my name is Macarena Real de Azua. I'm originally from Uruguay, South America. I've been in New York City for 25 years, and my business is coaching 101 and groups, and I'm also a speaker.
Mhm.
This is what I am going to share with your audience today is one of my signature talks, which is actually a workshop. So I hope everyone is ready and has maybe a pen and paper so you can take notes. And what I'm going to share is a few tools, practical, that you can start using today
Mhm.
to be able to embrace challenges and adversity. I know when we hear the word challenge, you're like, oh no, please. But in this world of being self employed, this is our bread and butter. It's like challenges, obstacles, all the things that come up, right? That sometimes we don't know how to handle. So I hope that with all this information, you have a better day tomorrow. So I hope everyone is ready and they're ready to actually be interactive and answer questions and all these on the, is it on the chats or on the comments that I'm
So
looking
what
at?
we'll be doing here, and I'm going to pull myself off of camera here just in a minute, and then you'll be full screen here. I don't think you're doing a slide deck. You're just going to be doing a talk here today. Is that right? Or are you
Correct.
sharing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll pull myself up here in just a second, and I'll be helping to facilitate chat. So as comments are coming in, for example, let me just show, Nancy, for example, as comments are coming in, I'll be pulling those up on screen. But if you do have an interactive portion where you're looking for feedback from the audience, there's about a 30-second delay from the time that you ask a question until they hear it, and then they have to type things in. So if you do want to get some audience participation throughout, I'll still be in the background and I'll be able to pull those up on screen for you. And I'll come back on screen in about 20 minutes. Does that sound okay for you, Macarena?
Sounds great. Let me clarify. So I will be seeing all the comments even though I'm the one on the screen, right? I'll be seeing
The
unless they.
comments are only going to be shown on this screen if I pull them in. If you would like, I can pull them in as you're going throughout their talk. Or if you're asking questions, I can pull them in. But otherwise, we'll do comments and questions at the end. Does that make
Okay,
sense?
yeah, yes, that would be
Okay.
great because I would like to be, yes, like the more interactive I think is better for the audience.
Okay, perfect.
Thank
And what
you.
I'm gonna do is
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull myself back on camera in about 20 minutes, and you'll see me off to the side, and then we'll move into some Q&A. Sound good?
Great.
All right,
Thank you.
perfect. Go ahead and take us from
Okay.
here.
Okay. I am very excited to be here with you today because I think everyone has challenges, adversity, obstacles that we go through, especially in this path that we chose of being entrepreneurs, right? So what I would like to discuss with you today is a workshop that usually help others learn how to deal with these obstacles in a way that we embrace these challenges. So what I hope for you is by the end of this workshop, you're able to say, yes, universe, give me more problems for me to solve. So we're going to start with, if we can have a few hands up to start with telling me who would love to make more money this year, who has like big goals and big ideas for between now and the few months that we have left in 2023. And from there, I don't, let's see. Great. So once we have those comments, right?
I'm gonna
Everyone
come off
will
to the
see.
side right now because I'm getting a couple comments from people that the replay from Lee kicked in a little bit early, and someone else said, Hey, the broadcast jumped back to Lee for me. So I'm not sure what's happening. This stream is going continuously. So it could be the baton between StreamYard and LinkedIn was dropped by one or both of those parties, and it's picking back up again slowly. So I'm seeing there are others that are popping back in right now. I would just say if you're
Okay.
watching this on LinkedIn, refresh your page, and that should take us right back in time to the point of contact that you're hearing everything. And I know you said raise your hand, and I see Marta with a little raise hand. So I'm going to assume they're now hearing your questions. And I see Joan
Great.
is also raising her hand there too. So I think we're good.
Okay, awesome. So thank you for that, because obviously I wouldn't know if that happened. So what I would like to ask you is to think about the things that we can control and the things that we can't control, right? So let's start with, do you know when you're inside a car and it's really warm, and then this fly that is like on the dashboard is like hitting itself against the windshield, and you hear like bzz, 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 and you think, you know what, I'm just going to get rid of this fly, and you try with a little piece of paper that you have, try to get it out, and then you roll down the window and you see the fly still hitting itself on the windshield, and you think, okay, the window is open, just fly away. Sometimes I see ourselves as that fly, that instead of going the easy route to the business that we want to accomplish, or we want to, those goals that we want to achieve, we keep hitting ourselves against the windshield, right? So this is a talk where you will have those tools to learn how to figure out how to work easier and not hit yourself against the windshield. So I hope that helps. So we're going to start with one example, which is from the Jack Canfield Success Principles. And that this is, think about this equation. So try to write this down. Is E plus R equals O? What does this mean? And let me know if you're able to write that down. Okay, apparently we have now everything refreshed on the connection, so that's awesome. And so refreshing and rethinking. E plus R equals O. What does this mean? It means E is the event, R is the response, and O is the outcome. So the event would be whatever, thank you, whatever event is happening in your life. Let's use, for instance, the pandemic, which is a great example, because even though all the suffering and all the pain that people went through at that time, others saw it as an opportunity to use the extra time to achieve goals or to get those things done as like bonus time. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the way that people chose. Others chose to be depressed and be engaged in a way where was almost worse for their mental health. I don't know if you're able to write down, how did you live the pandemic? Do you use the time that you had indoors and inside to accomplish things, or you went into like a dark mode where you thought, I can't leave my house, or depending on where you were in the country or overseas, if you had the problem of you couldn't even go to the park or that sort of thing. So the reason why I'm sharing this example with you is because we all have the option and the choice to decide how we respond to different events in our lives, right? And when it comes to business, when it comes to being an entrepreneur, sometimes we go through these times where we see that we planted all the seeds and then we're just there waiting for the flowers to bloom, right? We water the plants, we water the seeds. We think, okay, I did all this work, I put all this effort in, and now I don't see that the effects coming back to me as quick as I wish. So what do you do with those events? How do you react to those aspects or those times in your life is what I want to make emphasis, because once we allow to respond in a different way, where it's not negative, but it's actually taking control of the response, then you are able to see that you actually have the power to make those changes that you want. So my next question to you is, how do you respond when you have those challenges and obstacles? I put the example of the pandemic, but it could also be an example of something difficult that you're going through in your life. Do you see it as an opportunity, or do you see it as a problem and an obstacle? I would love to see your responses. So I'm going to wait a few seconds and see if those come in. Use time to organize, redecorate your rooms, present to several groups about navigating uncertainty. Yes, exactly. So I think it says Marta is sharing some of her responses to the pandemic, right? And this is a great example of how you can still be sad and be aware of all the situations that people are going through, and at the same time use your time wisely and in a way that is positive to the outcome that you're trying to pursue. Thank you so much for that response. So the next exercise that I have for you is something that I hope it gives you a good idea for the next time that these things happen. So if you think about 4 examples, 4 sentences that you're going to write down that are the following: I can't fill in the blanks. So think about all of those things that you've been trying to change for the past 10 years, 15 years, 25 years, 4 months that you think, I can't be organized. I can't get along with my mother-in-law. I can't wake up in a good mood every day. I can't lose the 25 pounds that I gained with my last baby, who's now 15 years old. Whatever that might be in your life, we all have those blocks, right? That you think, okay, I cannot do that. That's it. That's impossible. So if you want to write down 3 or 4 of those examples, that would be helpful, because once you finish writing those, we're going to see how to switch that mindset. And I would love to know your comments. So I can't work out every day. I can't not argue with my sister. I can't get along with my teenagers. I can't put more effort into my business. Whatever that might be, that has that you've been trying to, that in your mind you think you've been trying to change, but you haven't been able to. And once you write those down, I'm going to give you, besides those examples, I want you to do this very quickly. So cross off the can't and write down won't. Won't as in, I know I have an accent, so I'm going to spell it for you. It's WON''T. I won't. So you're going to cross off can't and you're going to replace it with won't. So with the examples that I gave you, it is, instead of saying I can't get along with my mother-in-law, I'm going to write down I won't get along with my mother-in-law. Instead of saying I can't lose the 25 pounds, I'm going to say I won't lose the 25 pounds. Instead of saying I can't do more than whatever you do for my business, I'm going to say I won't do any more for my business. I'm giving you a few seconds to see if anyone wants to comment on the examples that you wrote down.
I'm still getting a couple folks saying LinkedIn's being a little temperamental for us today, Macarena, unfortunately. And
Okay.
I see some folks like David saying my video is frozen. What do I do? Refresh your page. It's like LinkedIn sometimes is like a ketchup bottle that we need to whack on the bottom just to get the ketchup on. So if you're experiencing that, try that. And Vicky also said she jumped over to YouTube where it's, LinkedIn's getting a little wonky, a little temperamental today, and the live stream is going there continuously. But I do see a couple of comments that are coming in, and I'll just stay on screen with you here. Here's one from Laura. I'm not sure if you want to reflect upon that.
Oh, yes. Great. Oh, when we were discussing the pandemic and how we can feel differently. So Laura says, that's an important point. It's okay to be sad and or surprised or angry. But what do you do in response can create a positive outcome. This is a great comment, and because it has 2 parts to it. The first one is that we can have more than one emotion at the same time. And sometimes we either judge ourselves or others where we say, well, I am mad about this, I am angry about this, for example, during the pandemic, right? Where we say, where we, a lot of us were sad and concerned about the well-being of others, and at the same time we can still have other emotions where I can still use my time wisely. We don't have to be only in one state of mind, right? And the other part of this comment is that you can actually, you are the one who creates the response to have a positive or negative outcome. No one else can do that for you, right? We control, you as a person controls, even though sometimes you're not aware of them, you control the outcome of your life. Do you have anything to add, Brenda?
Yeah, no, I think
Okay.
it's really relevant. It's just like a mindset shift in terms of what you're doing there. And I see some other folks reflecting and commenting. I'm going to pull another one up on screen here too. This it says LinkedIn user, probably because the person's privacy settings are a bit locked down. But I think there's an important point here: creating a positive outcome from a challenging emotion or event, etc. Learning and growing from those negative situations might take away your shine. Any thoughts on that?
I think, yes, exactly. What happens is once you're able to learn from a situation, from an event, as we call it, is something that cannot be taken away from you, right? So even though when you're in the process, and that's why I think this work is so important, to actually welcome those challenges, because those are those challenges and adversity and what we see as obstacles or even failures are actually our springboard for our transformation. We cannot go we cannot go around them. We have to go through them to be able to learn those lessons, right?
Very
So
good.
do you have
Yep, there's a couple more that are coming in here too. Here's another one from Marta who says, such power in switching to won't. Can't is victim mentality. Won't is ownership. What are your thoughts on that, Macarena?
absolutely, yes. So that's one of the most common responses that we receive when we do this exercise, because it is okay, it has multiple layers, right? So you can feel, when you write down, I won't lose that weight, or I won't get along with my mother-in-law, I won't make all those calls for my business, you're going from like, I can't, oh my god, the victim, to exactly what Marta is saying, which is ownership. In addition to that, you can actually now make that decision if you actually want to make those choices, if you want to lose the weight, if you want to make those phone calls, if you want to prepare for the marathon, whatever that might be, right? That you say you can't. And then from there, you make the adjustments in your life to say, this is what I really want to achieve. Sometimes also, I receive some responses which are interesting, that after doing this exercise, some of my clients say, actually, after doing this, I realized I don't want to do I don't want to do this. I don't care about losing the weight. I don't care about, so those, I think that's why it's super important to have, or really cool to do this exercise, because it's simple, but it gives you that awareness of what is it that you actually want, and is up to you. Is you have the power to the control of your destiny, basically.
Yeah, very good, very good. Um, I, I'm sorry, we're getting a little technical hiccup. Some people are saying it froze on LinkedIn, and I see someone else saying they're not hearing us. But the YouTube people, it looks like this is not consistent, Macarena, because some people are saying, "Hey, I can hear you just fine," and see people like Philip saying, "Glad to be here." So I know the live stream is working. So we're getting a little bit of a spotty thing, but I know the playback is recording everything. So I'm just going to
Okay.
remind everyone again. Sometimes when you're on events with me, you'll experience, well, I will have learning experiences, not mistakes. And sometimes it's technology focused, right, Macarena? We can't control technology all the time. So if there's a technical hiccup that happens, let me know. And you are all doing in chat. And I will let you know a couple workarounds, one of which is go over to YouTube. And we put that link into the live stream. You can go on there right now. Sorry, LinkedIn. I'd like to keep people on LinkedIn, but if you're going to be temperamental, we're going to have to redirect people over to YouTube. And the other way is if you go to mellermarketing.com/LILESE, you can register to get the playbacks. By the way, when you register to get the playbacks, it's going to give you the link to YouTube as well. So you can watch it there or here on LinkedIn. So, um, Some people are saying, like Pamela, who's saying, hey, I can see and hear it just fine on LinkedIn. What are you talking about? All this stuff's going on. And other people like Sue are saying, hey, the auto captions things are a little bit wonky that are coming up here. I could say I can't have a successful event because of all of these problems. Instead, Macarena, I'm
Or
going to say I won't allow these technical hiccups to rain on my beautiful parade that I put together with all these amazing speakers today. And instead, what I'm going to do is just let people know of some of the redirects and some of the ways that we can still get the live stream as we're going. So I'm going to move forward with our Q&A at this point too. And I want to invite those of you who are watching, if you do have any questions or comments for Macarena, to please drop them into the chat right now. There is about a 30-second delay from the time I say ask Macarena a question until the time that people will see it. So I'm building in a little bit of a buffer right now as I'm saying this and as I'm waiting for comments to come up, because I know that the delay exists. So if you do have a question or a comment based on the conversation here, please feel free to drop that into chat. And we're here today talking about activating your potential. So don't be shy. If you have anything you'd like to share, please go ahead and drop them into the comments. While we are doing here, I want to go back to that acronym that you shared with us earlier. And I think somebody actually dropped into chat what that acronym was. E equals R plus O. Thank you, Mary, for doing that, by the way. So event plus response is outcome. So again, I think the point here is, and I heard this expression too before, Macarena, you can't control what happens to you, event, but you can control how you respond to it. And that helps to shape the outcome. Did I capture that
correct.
correctly?
That is perfect. Yes. So, and also, what does that mean in the day to day, in your day to day life and in your business? Like Lee was mentioning, the previous speaker, which was very interesting to hear, is what do you do when those clients that you want to attract don't really hear what your message on like a discovery call, like someone else was sharing that they have one today. So all you can do is do your best when you show up. How are you showing up in your life, in your calls, in your different aspects of your life? And then if you know you're putting 100% in, if you know you're doing all the right things, if you know that it comes from a place of service and you comes from a place of trusting that the universe will give you what's best for you, then all those challenges are really just different obstacles that the universe or life or God, whatever you want to call it, puts in your in your path to for different reasons, right? And most times while we're in it, we cannot see it. But how many times has it happened to you where you look back and you think that was the best thing that happened to me, and at the moment you thought, for example, I got fired, and then 3 years later you think if I hadn't been fired I wouldn't have gotten into, like for example, all of us entrepreneurs have got into this space, right? A lot of people started that way, and that day that you had to go home and say, oh my god, how I'm going to pay my rent, then once you have hindsight, right, is 2020. So you look back and you think, okay, that will happen for a reason. So what I invite your audience to think about is to look at it when you're going through it, which is really difficult, but it's possible. And then say, what is the lesson here? What am I here to learn? What am I here to listen to what life is giving me? Because I don't know, Brenda, if this happened to you, where you realize that life is always talking to you. Life is always either whispering, or if you don't hear that lesson in the whisper, is like knocking on your door. And if you don't hear that lesson, then it sends you a tsunami of giant problems, right?
Yeah,
Does that happen?
absolutely. Absolutely. And
So
by the way, I see a
yeah.
comment from Aaron. I just pulled up on screen, and Aaron says we
Uh-huh.
were full on survival mode. I'm assuming you're talking about the pandemic here, balancing 3 small school-aged children and 2 careers. Wow, wasn't that fun? I mean, isn't it nice that it's in the rearview mirror now? We can say that happened, but it still, for many of us, was a very traumatic time. And I can appreciate where you're coming from, Aaron. School-age children, you got to do your job, And oh, by the way, you got to make sure your kids are doing their job, being students, being in front of the computers and learning and whatnot. Definitely character building, right, Macarena?
Oh my, absolutely. Yes. I had my kids here during the pandemic too. I live in New York City in a two-bedroom apartment. So that was a little challenging. And at the same time, doing those, I don't even remember how many years it was. It seemed like a long time.
Was
During those years,
forever. I mean, it was probably two to three, and it's kind of weird. Like now that we're on the other side of it, like there wasn't really like for many of us, we remember the exact day, like March. I think it was March 14th or March 13th or something was like when everything shut down here in Metro Detroit. But there wasn't like a reopening day. It was kind of like a gradual, and all of a sudden you realize you're at a conference on stage speaking, and there's a couple people wearing masks in the audience, but we're back. We're not like where we were from back in those days, like Aaron's describing.
yes, and Erin, what she's saying is about also the two careers. So the
Yeah.
children, the careers, the and the amount of food that those children ate during those
Oh my
months.
gosh, stress.
It's like stop
Macarena, I
opening
see
the
that
fridge.
I see Sarah's in our green room here. I'm gonna pull her up on screen real quick just to do a quick audio test. Hey Sarah, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks. You hear
Good.
me okay?
We hear you
Hi,
loud and
Sarah.
clear. I'm gonna move you back into the green
Great.
room and then we'll bring you back on in just a few minutes if that's okay.
Okay.
All right, perfect. Thank you. All right, so Macarena, we're going to start to kind of close off our conversation here today. And for those of you who may be joining late, Macarena was talking about activating your potential. It'll all be in the playbacks that you can get access to. But if there are individuals who are solopreneurs, enthusiastically self-employed, so to speak, that are interested in working with you, Macarena, can you remind us again, what are those offerings that you have? And then where can we go to learn more?
You can go to my website, which is realcoaching.cc. There you have it in English and in Spanish. You have all my services. I'm a speaker and I'm a success coach. You can reach out to me on my website and send me a message or WhatsApp.
All
So
right. Perfect. And I
I
think
also have,
I talked about some freebies, and I think you have something you want to share with us. Is that right?
yes, I do. And that is a guide, is a 3-step guide to learn how to unblock your mind in your mindset. So it's 3 steps to clarity, and you do this quick exercise but really profound. And in this way you can actually just look at every aspect of your life and what are the changes that you want to make. Sometimes you feel stuck and you don't know if you want to work, what do you want to start working on. So go through that exercise and it will help you.
All right. And I did put the link up on screen, realcoaching.cc/3, the number 3, steps to TO, clarity. That will be included in the playback. So if you do register at mellermarketing.com/LILESE, I gotcha. I'll be sending you all the playbacks for the speakers talks, as well as all these freebies and resources that they have mentioned here today. And as we start to close up here too, Macarena, are you open to folks connecting with you on LinkedIn?
That'd be great. Yes, I'm always open to connections on LinkedIn. I love
Wonderful.
talking with people who have the same goals. We
All
can
right.
help each other.
And I'll put just a reminder to connect with Macarena inside the comments here on LinkedIn. And I would encourage you, if you do invite her to connect, to mention that you saw her on today's LinkedIn Live-a-thon, mention that you saw her on the interview with Brenda, and she'll remember where you had come from. And I want to give a quick shout out to our friends at Innovation Women. You and I are both members there. Innovation Women is a really
Yes.
great organization that was created by Bobby Carlton to help women speakers, because she saw that there were a lot of conferences and events that had either all male speakers and very few women or no women at all. And she said, hey, I'm going to put together this membership community where women can come and support each other. And there's a speaker directory, and event planners can post their events to try to get more women on there as well. So you and I met through there, and that's how you came to be on today's event. And I was just delighted to have you. Some really great takeaways here that you shared with us today. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining us, Macarena.
Thank you. I'll follow you on I'm going to keep watching on LinkedIn.